Śrī Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Śrīvāsadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. It's time for a verse from Bhagavad Gita. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. This is Bhagavad Gita as it is, translated with commentaries by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. I wrap myself here in the holy name. This is a little, it's called a chutter, and it's the Hare Krishna mantra written all over it. Hare Krishna, and it has little cows on it. Hare Krishna, wrapped in the holy name. Okay. So Arjuna, he's still struggling. Even Krishna has said, you're from the royal family, you're trained as a kshatriya, a warrior, it's your duty to fight. The enemies, although they're your relations, your family relations, they're avaricious, they're greedy, they have the mentality of exploiting. So, and they're trying to take over ruling, and you can't let that happen. But Arjuna is still stuck on, but it's my family, and my teachers, and what will happen to society if the leaders and the teachers are all killed, even though they're not qualified. At least they're filling the post. So, Arjuna, Krishna's trying to appeal to his sense of duty and responsibility. And Arjuna, but it's my family. So Arjuna continues, Nahi prapaśyāmi mamāpanudyād chokam ucchoṣaṇam indriyāṇām avāpya bhūmāv asapatnam ṛddhaṁ rājyaṁ surāṇām api cādhipatyam. I can find no means to drive away this grief, which is drying up my senses. I will not be able to destroy it, even if I win an unrivaled kingdom on earth with sovereignty like demigods in heaven. Prabhupada's commentary. Although Arjuna was putting forward so many arguments based on knowledge of the principles of religion and moral codes, it appears that he was unable to solve his real problem without the help of the spiritual master, Lord Shri Kṛṣṇa. He can understand that his so-called knowledge was useless in driving away his problems, which were drying up his whole existence, and it was impossible for him to solve such perplexities without the help of a spiritual master, like Lord Kṛṣṇa. Academic knowledge, scholarship, high position, etc. are all useless in solving the problems of life. Help can only be given by a spiritual master like Kṛṣṇa. Therefore, the conclusion is that a spiritual master who is 100% Krishna conscious is the bona fide spiritual master, for he can solve the problems of life. Lord Chaitanya said that one who is master in the science of Krishna consciousness, regardless of his social position, is the real spiritual master. Kiva vipra kiva nyasi sudra kenenaya ye Krishna tattva veta se guruhaya. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya 8. Translation. It does not matter whether a person is a Vipra, learned scholar in Vedic wisdom, or is born in a lower family, or is in the renounced order, if he is a master in the science of Krishna, he is the perfect and bona fide spiritual master. So, without being a master in the science of Krishna consciousness, no one is a bona fide spiritual master. It is also said in Vedic literatures Sat karma nipano vipro mantra tantra visarada e vaishnavo gururnasyat vaishnava swapako pacho guru. Translation. A scholarly Brahmin, expert in all subjects of Vedic knowledge, is unfit to become a spiritual master without being a Vaishnava or expert in the science of Krishna consciousness. But a person born in a family of a lower caste can become a spiritual master if he is a Vaishnava or Krishna conscious. The problems of material existence, birth, old age, disease, and death, cannot be counteracted by accumulation of wealth and economic development. In many parts of the world there are states which are replete with all facilities of life, which are full of wealth and economically developed, yet problems of material existence are still present. They are seeking peace in different ways, but they can achieve real happiness only if they consult Krishna, or the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, which constitute the science of Krishna, or the bona fide representative of Krishna, the man in Krishna consciousness. If economic development and material comforts could drive away one's lamentations for family, social, national, or international liberties, then Arjuna would not have said that even an unrivaled kingdom on earth or supremacy like that of the demigods and the heavenly planets would not be able to drive away his lamentations. He sought therefore refuge in Krishna consciousness, and that's the right path for peace and harmony. Economic development or supremacy over the world can be finished at any moment by the cataclysms of material nature. Even elevation into a higher planetary situation, as men are now seeking a place on the moon planet, can also be finished at one stroke. The Bhagavad Gita confirms this. Chine punye marchulo kam vishanti. Translation. When the results of pious activities are finished, one falls down again from the peak of happiness to the lowest status of life. Many politicians of the world have fallen down in that way. Such downfalls only constitute more causes for lamentation. Therefore, if we want to curb lamentation for good, we have to take shelter of Krishna, as Arjuna is seeking to do. So Arjuna asked Krishna to solve his problem definitely, and that is the way of Krishna consciousness. So Sanjaya is relating this to Dhritarashtra. He has remote viewing. He's the disciple of Vyasadeva, and he has that ability to hear and see what's going on the battlefield, although he and Dhritarashtra are sitting in the palace. So, Sanjaya uvacha, evam utva rishikesham, gudikesha parantapa, na yotya iti govindam, upva tushnim babuvaha. Sanjaya said, having spoken thus, Arjuna, chastiser of enemies, told Krishna, Govinda, I shall not fight, and fell silent. Prabhupada's commentary. Dhritarashtra must have been very glad to understand that Arjuna was not going to fight, and was instead leaving the battlefield for begging profession. But Sanjaya disappointed him again in relating that Arjuna was competent to kill his enemies by referring to him as Parantapa. Although Arjuna was for the time being overwhelmed with false grief due to family affection, he surrendered unto Krishna, the supreme spiritual master, as a disciple. This indicated that he would soon be free from false lamentation resulting from family affection, and would be enlightened with perfect knowledge of self-realization, or Krishna consciousness, and would then surely fight. Thus, Dhritarashtra's joy would be frustrated, since Arjuna would be enlightened by Krishna and would fight to the end. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.